Spencer Stuart, the firm that places CEOs at Fortune 500 companies, just published something that should concern you. They said AI won't kill professional services, it will fracture them. And buried in that fracture is a prediction most consultants, coaches, and financial advisors completely missed. The experts who have one book, a single published methodology, are about to economically outperform entire consulting firms, not because they're smarter, because the math changed. Here's the short version. 80% of what traditional consulting firms bill for, the research, the modeling, the analysis, AI does that now in seconds. That's not my number, that's Harvard Business Review's number. And when Spencer Stuart and HBR land on the same conclusion independently, that's not speculation, that's a verdict. But here's the part that hasn't made the headlines yet. Spencer Stuart didn't just say the industry is fracturing, they mapped exactly where the fracture line falls, and it splits every independent expert into one of two groups. One group gets more valuable as AI advances, the other watches their fees collapse. And the dividing line is not what most people think. I'm going to show you both sides of that fracture. The specific asset determines which side you land on and why you need to know this before 2027. Let me give you the full picture. Harvard Business Review published a piece in September called AI is Changing the Structure of Consulting Firms. The authors include a partner who co-wrote with Clayton Christensen and an AI ethics leader at Harvard. These aren't bloggers, these are people who study how industries die. Their core finding, AI can now perform roughly 80% of a junior analyst's typical work. Research, modeling, slide generation, all in seconds, not hours, seconds. And that junior analyst layer is what traditional consulting firms bill for. It's their entire economic engine. Then Spencer Stuart, Forbes' third-ranked executive recruiter in America, published their own analysis 2 months later. Same conclusion, different angle. AI isn't one wave that lifts or sinks all boats. It's a fracturing force that splits professional services into winners and losers. But here's the part most people in this space are getting wrong. They're reading these reports and thinking the threat is AI replacing them. It's not. AI doesn't replace the expert. It replaces the reason clients used to need the firm that employed the expert, the research, the junior team, the infrastructure. When that infrastructure goes away, the value doesn't disappear, it migrates. And where it migrates is what matters. So what does this fracture look like for you? If you're an independent consultant, a coach, a financial advisor, anyone who sells expertise for a living, here's the question you need to sit with. Are your clients paying you for the work, or are they paying you because you're the one they trust to do it? Because the work part just got commoditized. Portfolio construction, market research, competitive analysis, strategy decks, AI does all of it now. Not perfectly, but well enough that a prospect can pull out their phone, show you what they built in 20 minutes for free, and ask the obvious question, what exactly am I paying you for? That's not hypothetical. Buyers now complete 70% of their purchasing journey before they ever contact you. 80% of the time, they reach out first to the vendor they already intend to hire. The decision happens before the conversation starts. Whether you're a consultant, a coach, a financial advisor, or a speaker, if you're not the recognized authority before they start looking, you're not on the list. I want to tell you about someone I'll call Alex, independent financial advisor in the Southeast, solid practice, loyal clients, good referrals. About a year ago, Alex noticed something. Discovery call close rates started dropping. Prospects were showing up more informed, more skeptical, and harder to impress. Nothing about Alex's work had changed. The market had. Keep that in mind. Spencer Stuart's analysis maps professional services into what I'm going to call the authority fracture. Two sides. And where you land determines everything that happens to your business over the next 18 months. On one side, you have what Spencer Stuart calls knowledge experts. These are professionals built on processing information, research, analysis, applying rules to data. That's consulting's traditional base. It's also the base layer of financial advisory, the portfolio management, the tax optimization, the planning templates. AI is hollowing out this entire layer, not replacing the people, replacing the value of the tasks they bill for. On the other side, and this is where it gets important, Spencer Stuart identifies what they call true advisors. These are professionals whose value isn't built on processing information, it's built on relationships, proprietary insight, and the kind of trust that can't be automated. Think of it as two layers. Layer one is the processing layer, the work. Layer two is the authority layer, being the known, trusted expert. AI is making layer one nearly free, and it's making layer two more valuable than it's ever been. Alex's entire practice was built on layer one. Good work, Solid analysis, but nothing published. No named methodology, no asset that said to a prospect, this person wrote the book on this. Here's the question most advisors aren't ready for. If AI can do the analysis part of your job for $60 a month, what's left? And are you the person clients trust to provide it? If I could boil it all down to one sentence, it's this. AI can now do the homework. So the only thing left to sell is being the one people trust to grade it. And that changes everything about how you should be building your practice right now. So what happened to Alex? One afternoon, a prospect sat across the table, pulled out a tablet, and on the screen was a retirement plan. Asset allocation, tax projections, social security optimization, all generated by an AI tool in under 30 minutes. The prospect said, I built this myself. Can you tell me what's wrong with it? Alex could. Alex found 3 significant blind spots. But here's what Alex realized walking out of that meeting. The prospect didn't come to Alex first. He came to Alex third. The first 2 advisors they called were people they'd already read, advisors who had published their methodology. Alex was the backup plan, the one you call to check someone else's work. That was the moment. Alex spent the next few months documenting a proprietary planning framework, named it, published it, made it the centerpiece of every client conversation. Same expertise, same clients, but now there was evidence, something tangible a prospect could find, read, and say, this is my person. Within 6 months, Alex's close rate came back, not because the work improved, because the authority became visible. Here's what the data actually shows. A study from the Evolution of Publishing Institute found that 86% of clients prefer a published author over an identical non-author competitor. Published experts charge 40 to 65% higher fees for the same work. Not better work, the same work, with one difference: tangible, visible authority. That's not a vanity stat. That's the economics of layer 2. When buyers make their decision before they contact you, and the data says that they do, the only thing that gets you on the short list is being known, being published, having a named methodology that a prospect encounters before they ever pick up the phone. The consultants and advisors who are thriving right now all have one thing in common. They stopped selling their time and they started building an asset that sells for them. Something that works while they sleep. Something AI cannot replicate because it's theirs. It's their thinking, their framework, their name on the cover. The question most people have at this point, okay, I get it. But how do I actually build that? How do I take 15 or 20 years of expertise and turn it into something a client can find, read, and say, this is the person I need before we ever get on a call? Because the advisors who figure that out aren't just surviving this fracture. They're the ones Spencer Stuart would put in the true advisor column, the ones whose practice gets more valuable as AI gets stronger. That's exactly what I walk through in the next video. It covers the extraction process we use to take what you already know and build a book around it in 90 days without staring at a blank page. It also explains why we back the whole thing with an ROI guarantee, because what this has to do for your practice is real. If your fees are built on layer 1 work right now, that next video is the one you need to watch. Watch it next.